let's talk about the vibe you're getting here in New York. It's an interesting time because people are interested in technology. The markets, though, have been shaky. The IPO window is something people have been waiting to see open up again. What are you seeing in your conversations?
Well, exactly that. I think there's a lot of perspective on IPOs. I mean, I think the same in Europe. We're really hoping that this market starts to flow again. There's also some insecurity about where things are going with the tariffs, but I think there's a lot of enthusiasm to still, invest in the U.S., to come to the U.S. to find investors and to build here. It's still, for many of the companies, it's probably their fastest growing market and an important market to be in.
Now, interestingly enough, you have raised money recently, Marjella, for your company, Datamaran. What was that like? Do you think the environment today is like it was just last year, or do you think it has changed meaningfully for other companies that are looking to tap the market?
Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of uncertainty in the market today. And I think what we experienced during the Series C round is that we were dealing with a party that was looking at the market already in a bit more of a selective way. So looking for companies that were prepared to create long-term value, very much looking at our business fundamentals, at the founder composition. And I think that's probably one of the opportunities that we see today, is that there's not a lot of money perhaps flying around to invest in what I would call bets, right? Placing bets on a lot of companies. But I think the opportunity is for investors to be more selective. And I think also when you look at the Dutch ecosystems, these are typically companies that fly a little bit more under the radar. That might not seek the spotlight immediately, but for that reason might, have very strong business fundamentals because they've been bootstrapping and really making sure they got their value proposition right.
Now, what's interesting also is your company deals with artificial intelligence. The other advantage is it deals with companies that are business-to-business seeking here in the market. What about the companies that you're working with, Prince Constantijn? Do you see the need for artificial intelligence to be part of the story? If it's not part of the story, are companies going to have a harder time?
Oh, yeah. No, I think we can see a number of different companies. You've got the AI native companies that are building parts of the AI stack. Those are, of course, in very high demand, and we've seen them all across the world, across Europe as well, I think. But those are the companies we would like to see more of. Then we have a lot of companies that are applying AI, even new companies. And then we have a whole bucket of companies also in our community that are all SaaS companies. And those are all refiguring out their business models and their go-to-market, and I think there's the biggest challenge, because a lot of money has gone into these companies in the past. They were the darlings of VC, and they now have to really adjust really rapidly to become AI native, and there we see the biggest challenge. It's
interesting also, to what extent is a path to IPOing important?
It's critically important, though many companies in Europe and Netherlands would also look at M&A exits. But the IPO is, of course, that's the North Star. Yes, the Holy Grail. And that market has been largely inactive, and we hope that this year to see some of them. Of course, the Klarna IPO is one of the bright spots, and we hope that that's going to ignite many more IPOs this year.
How do you feel about this, Marjella? If you think about it, it's interesting. At the very moment, we're watching one company out there look at a roadshow, start a roadshow, but CoreWeave, as it goes public, it looked to be a $35 billion company. It's looking like it might be less than $26 billion in public markets. Are you watching these instances to determine how you might look to IPO one day?
I think at the moment, we're very much looking at how can we best serve our customers in a time that there's a lot of volatility, there's a lot of uncertainty, both when you think about our business, we're dealing with the omnibus in the European Union, so the Simplification Act on the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive, pushing companies to rethink their strategies as to long-term value creation and sustainability. And at the same time, there's developments here in the US as well. So we are very much at a time where we're closely looking at the customer. What does the customer really want, and how do we best reposition and respond to those changing market needs? So we're not as much thinking ahead in terms of like IPO and what's ahead in 3 to 5 years. It's just very difficult to do that right now. We are doubling down on making sure that we are providing the right set of tools, platforms to the customer.
It's a great point. You look here in the United States, and a lot of those efforts surrounding energy sustainability governance have been unwound. They have been taken back in many regards. How do you think about the energy transition, green technology, as you talk to startups in the Netherlands? Is it something where some of those priorities for international companies have changed meaningfully, or do you see there are places where this is still a huge priority?
No, it's definitely a huge priority. The underlying logic is still the same. We need to be less dependent on fuels, and we're seeing this. I think there's more inconsistencies in the support policies. So many of our solar companies having big troubles at the moment. And then there is some of our circular plastics companies are having problems because the price of plastic from China is just so low. And if policymakers then don't step in and create a market, then for those companies it's going to be very difficult. So we do see in very specific niches we see issues, but on the whole the fundamentals around energy transition, less dependency, bigger diversity, diversifying the energy mix, I think that's still the same, and we've seen a lot of companies entering in this space.